Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Remember Me, the stories of our babies. And in this episode, Chelsea and I have decided that we want to talk about early grief. And I didn't even introduce myself. So who's speaking right now is Helena. Hello, everyone. We decided that this would be a perfect episode to be like right at the start of the series because um, when we start looking for resources and the conversations around baby loss, a lot of the things that we are ingesting, let's say, if that's the right word, is from people who have already gone through a lot of that journey, like people who are a bit further down in the journey of their grief. And some of them are actually earlier. But a lot of the times we don't always hear about those first early moments, like the things that we're feeling and thinking in the very immediate stages. And I think it's important to speak about that, especially at the beginning of our podcast, because a lot of the times we think we must be absolutely crazy for the things that are coming through our heads. We're the only ones that are thinking these things. And I think it's just important to validate some of the things that go through our head. You're not alone and nothing is too weird. And especially you're grieving, like there's no rules anyway. And some of these feelings come a lot later down the line as well. Even when you're later stages of your grief, I'm sure things pop up here and there. So we thought it'd be great to speak about that. Chelsea, is there anything that you want to add before we get into the topics of discussion today?
Yeah, no, just to, say that when I first was in the stages of losing Eli, I was just numb to the world, and people, talking like how I'm talking now, I used to think were just insane. Like I never saw my way out, and I never thought I'd be okay again.
Yeah, that's so true. And you're so right. Like, especially like the early conversations that you have, if you do find any other parents who've experienced this and they sort of give you that hopeful, like, oh, it does get better. Obviously, you're not going to be 100% yourself, but it does get better and stuff. And sometimes you don't even really want to hear that because that's not where you are.
Yeah, you just don't believe it.
Yeah, you're right, because you're just angry and you don't really care and you don't believe that you're going to get better.
Yeah, it's just numbing, isn't it? Like you're just numb to everything around you, and everything just feels like it's never going to end, and you just want the pain to end.
That's so true. And like I think numb is, I even mentioned it in the last podcast, was definitely how I felt for a very, like I wasn't even able to cry immediately. Like I was seeing my family and people around me crying, but I was just like, I have I can't feel anything. It was so weird. Like I felt nothing. I felt really cold. I just felt this coldness take over my whole body. Um, and that's normal. Like some people probably would think, oh, how can you have no feelings whatsoever? Like your baby's dead. But that's not what's happening there. It's like you just freeze.
Yeah, see, I was the other way. I was just non-stop crying, and there was a point where I was like, I literally feel like I've got nothing left in me to cry out. Like I was to the point where I couldn't even cry anymore because I was just doing it so often and so much. It was just like, yeah, I just couldn't anymore.
Yeah. I hear you. And I think the hospital really became a safe space for me. And the reality sunk in once I left because I was being taken care of, basically. Like these people are looking after me. I can't really believe yet that I'm being protected, so to speak. One of the things that came up for me that I was thinking about is like the fear of like loads of things came to my head actually. One of the first things was going back to work. Like both of us were obviously in the last stages, third trimester. I know you were completely full term. I was 36 weeks and 5 days. And I don't know what it was like for you, but immediately I started thinking, oh my God, I have to go back to work. I was thinking I had to go back to work as soon as I leave the hospital. I didn't know that you get maternity leave. Well, some of us are entitled to maternity leave. That's another thing as well, which is awful that not everyone gets, maternity leave or at least enough time off leave. Um, and I was just remember calculating like how am I going to tell people, how am I going to have this conversation, remembering that I have to go back. I was already starting to kind of like email my candidates because I work in recruitment, and then I wasn't taking pause.
Yeah, I was quite lucky in the sense of going back to work. I actually worked with my mum, so she was sort of. I think she told my boss, who like sort of told everyone, um, and they all left me alone. But I did. I'm as well. I'm fortunate because I can work from home. So a lot of, at the beginning, I was sort of working from home most of the time, and to be honest, it was sort of a way for me to just distract myself. And I just sort of focused on that for a while just to keep myself busy.
So are you saying that you went back to work quite quickly?
Yeah, yeah.
When?
Like weeks.
No.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was my because I never really stopped working. And it was kind of like my way of just doing something. It probably no, it wasn't. It probably wasn't weeks. It was probably I think when Dean went back to work, that's when I went back into the office. I think it's so them times are so like merged. I can't even remember what how long exactly it was, but it wasn't long. You know,
Wow.
yeah.
So you didn't feel like you needed to have the full maternity leave?
It wasn't a case. I probably did need it, but at the time, it was just a case of I need something. I need to do something. I need to feel like I am um, you know, a use, because at the time I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm supposed to be at home looking after my baby. You know, I have nothing else to give. Like, what else can I do to give?
Wow. Wow. Honestly, that's thrown me a lot. Like, and I completely understand. Like, you, especially like, you just feel like you need to do something to keep yourself busy. Like, you get that urgency to just, I always describe it as like, just to move, like, you just feel like all that anger that you have. And I think, your way was to get back to work to get something done out of that. But,
Mm.
oh, I couldn't, if I had to go back. I was even thinking like, I'm quitting. I'm not going back there. Like, I'm leaving my job.
Yeah, I think it helped as well. Like, obviously, where I work with my mum, you know, I felt bad because we work just us two. So I was kind of feeling bad about, if I weren't there working, it was all sort of left to her.
Yeah, yeah, I hear that. So, okay, we're talking about things like work, but what were like the real initial feelings? Like, what would you say are some of the feelings that someone that you felt like you were crazy and you can only be the only person thinking like that, but really, most of us probably were feeling the same thing.
Yeah, no, I was just numb. I literally felt like I was just living a nightmare. I remember I mean, I come out of hospital, I couldn't talk to him. I was just like a zombie, like for weeks. I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink. And I must say, like, thank goodness for my husband, because I just didn't want to do anything. I was just like, what is the point? Like, what is the point in me being here? Like, I should be with my son. Um, and that's all I kept thinking is, how come I survived when he didn't? Like, and I didn't want to survive. I wanted to be with him. So yeah, I mean, obviously you're postpartum as well. Like, everything's, a mess emotionally and like hormonally anyway. Um, but Dean was so good. He like made sure, because I was on like blood thinners and I had to get injections, which I don't know if you've had them. They are horrific. Yeah, so he was making sure I had all my medication and he was feeding me and making sure I had a drink and stuff. And even like I remember my first shower. I didn't want to shower because I wanted Eli like to stay on me. And that first shower, I just remember crying my eyes out, just thinking that I'm just washing him away. And I remember Dean literally just showering me because I couldn't do it. I was just a mess. Um, so yeah, like honestly, I'm so grateful for him because yeah.
Honestly, like, wow, what you just described just sent me back because I felt like I regressed to being a child myself. Like, I really felt like I also didn't want to have a shower. I remember I came back to my mum's house after staying in the hospital for like maybe 7 days. And like you, I didn't want to shower. I didn't even want to look at my body. Like, do you know what? I hated my placenta to like, I just detested it. There's no other word that I can possibly say how much I detested my placenta. And then I just remember going home, and I also had to do the blood thinners, and I couldn't even touch my belly. Like, I couldn't even look at it, let alone touch it. So like you said, my husband also helped me give it to me, and it was just so painful. You know, you're already dealing with the emotional pain and the mental pain. Now you have to physically inject yourself. And there was part of me that was like, yes, I'm going to inject myself, like almost self-harm kind of thing. But also it was like, oh, this hurts. And then I kept being like, well, her dying would have hurt more. So now do it.
Yeah, and then them injections are so painful as well, aren't they? They like burn.
I remember, I don't know if I did it wrong or whatever, there would be days where I would have a lump because I probably put it in the wrong way. Because I know
Mm.
you're supposed to squeeze your belly and then inject it, but I think I didn't squeeze it enough and then it it had a lump.
The one I had it in my legs as well. So I was like, yeah, I didn't want anyone to touch my belly. And I mainly had it either like in my legs. I remember I had it in my like back before like the hip or something. And yeah, it was just, oh, it was awful. But yeah, like you, I was just like, oh, you know, he would have been in pain.
Yeah, exactly. You always just go down to that. And I remember my mom gave me that shower as well, and she was pressing down on my belly, and I just kept being like, oh my God, that's where my baby should have been. She should have still been in there. Why are you touching me? Why is it empty? The guilt that you have, isn't it? Like, I should have protected my child and I didn't. And like you said as well, like, I definitely wanted to die. I had lost so much blood and I was like, don't even touch me. The doctor had to really persuade me to tell me that first he had to remove all the blood clots that were basically collecting up inside of me. And then he was explaining to me, look, you have a lot of blood clots and then they can go up your lung and then you could die that way. And I was just like, who gives a shit at this point? And then he was like, no, I have to take it out. And then he was Asian, I think from Malaysia. He sat down with me and he showed me his hand. So obviously he's a lot paler than me. I'm dark skinned. So he showed me the back of his hand, which obviously is still the same color as him anyway, because the back of everyone's hand is pale. But him being, of a pale complexion, his hand had still more color than my hand. And that's how he sort of persuaded me to be like, look, I really need to do my job here because you're just going really pale and, things could go left. And then my whole family was like, come on, just take the blood. And I was like, I don't want the blood. So I took the damn blood. And yeah, like, yeah, it's crazy how that is, isn't it?
Mm, yeah, 100%. It's, yeah. I don't even like remember like now, thinking about, I mean, I've only just remembered like having that, that first shower. And yeah, it's just mad thinking back, like it's just so surreal, like this whole journey has just been surreal. There are no words for it really.
Do you remember what the first thing you did when you got home? Was it just like go straight to bed? Was it
No, so it was Dean's parents. I went in their car, they took us home, and then my mum and dad were in the car, but like, in their car. Um, and we just had a cup of tea, and I just sat there, and I don't think I moved for like hours. I was just staring into space. Like I just couldn't, I just literally felt like I was living like in a nightmare, and I was like waiting to wake up, you know. I mean, when I was in hospital, Dean went home whilst I was with Eli just to, because we had all like I had the pump, the breast like feeding pump and stuff, like all on the kitchen side. I had everything everywhere. So he sort of came home and took it all away, put it all in his nursery and like shut the door sort of thing. Um, and I remember just being like, why did you do that? Why would you hide it all away? Like, you know? And I think bless him, he was a bit like, well, I didn't think you'd want to see it. And I was like, yeah, no, I get that, but that's still his stuff, like obviously. And I remember like opening his nursery door, and yeah, like like thinking back, it's just a really it's even now to think back, it's just a numbing experience, like a numbing time. Does that even make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's all a blur. It all just becomes one big ball of that.
Yeah, like the first year. Yeah, 100%. It just all merges together. Like I can't even now like process like how bad I was, you know. And I used to listen to stuff and read other people's stories, and they'd be like, I mean, like I am now, 3 years down the line, and I'd be like, how is that even possible to even think like that? Like, there is no way I'm going to be, as sane as what you sound like in 3 years' time. Like, I couldn't see that. I didn't like want to, I wanted to be I just wanted, and like every year I was like getting away, in my head, I'm getting away from Eli, like the year he was born. And, I didn't want to move on. And, not that I've moved on, obviously, but, everyone sort of says, oh, yeah, you'll move on and time's a healer and all of that. And I couldn't grasp that at all. And it used to infuriate me when I heard that, even from other lost mums, like saying that. It used to make me so angry because I
Yeah.
just couldn't see a way out, you know?
Like, I completely understand the sentiment behind saying things like that, and I completely understand. But I don't even like saying the word heal because exactly what you've just said. Like, I don't want time to move forward anyway, because the further we're moving with time is the further away that I'm being between what I had with Mila. It's the further away I even had time with her, because obviously we were together almost 9 months, and now it's almost 2 years, so already been trumped. Then the amount of time that's gone on past that, it just feels like so distant, and I absolutely hate it. I want time to move, obviously, because I don't want to be here, but I also don't want it to move. It is so complex, isn't it? Those feelings, that first journey home. So I hadn't unpacked anything, even though we only had 4 weeks left. I had not done any nesting whatsoever, so everything was still in boxes. But I did, when just like you, like when I came home, I still hoped to see things. We were staying at my parents' house, and when we arrived home, there was clearly nothing in sight. Even though I kind of hoped to see glimpses, because that's the sweet reminder that there was a baby that was due to come. Um, and I just remember that journey was just like the most silence. It was raining, and there was bumps in the road, and
Oh, I remember the bumps.
I could feel them so much more. Like every single bump, it was almost like I was counting them. I remember that journey so clearly because of the rain and the bumps, and I kept being like, "Oh, stop!"
Yeah, no, I actually really remember the bumps. You've just reminded me of that. It literally was like the journey was like never ending, and I was just looking out the window at like all these people going about their day as normal, and I'm like my world's just stopped. Like how are you not aware of like what's happening? Like, and you see someone laugh, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, how dare you laugh? You know?
Yeah. I remember I used to look at people, and the way I'd look at them is like I was trying to translate to them, this is what's just happened to me. I'd look at people in the streets and be like staring them down, hoping that they would understand or ask me something. I hated going grocery shopping. Why do I say grocery? That's not what we say. I hated shopping. I just went American. No, I hated going shopping because, especially in Aldi, because if I needed to get something in the bathroom section, there'd be nappies there, there's gonna be like toys there, and I would just run. Like I remember I would run like this, or like the tears would just be streaming down my face, or then I would see someone with a buggy. I remember I was staying in temporary accommodation actually when I was pregnant with Mila, and well, the end of my pregnancy, and there's loads of babies in that building, so many babies, OMG. And I could hear the crying. Oh my God. Oh my gosh, I can't describe to you. It felt like hell. If there was hell, an explanation of what hell feels like to people on earth, that's what it was. The sounds of the babies crying late at night. I'd just be like, I just want to pull my hair. I'd put on my headphones and I'd play music blasting loud. And then my husband, he would just look at me like crying because of the babies. And then he'd be like, he would literally get my headphones really quickly and put them over my head, like and then he would have to go to work as well, because men only get 2 weeks, isn't it? And then he'd be like, I don't know if I should leave you. Like, I don't know if I should go. Like, are you going to be okay? Are you sure you're going to be okay? I don't want to go to work. And I'd be like, "No, I'll be fine, I'll be fine." And then I mean, he'd go to work and I didn't really move from I'd just be there, like, sitting there without doing.
Yeah, no, I didn't have any babies crying, but it was in my head, and I didn't realise. And every night I'd be like, I could hear this baby crying, and it turned out, yeah, it was literally in my head, and I could hear it every night, all the time. And I'd say to Dean, "Can you not hear that baby crying?" And he'd be like, "No, like there's no baby there." I'm like, "There is definitely a baby," and he's like, "No, honestly." Oh, mate, it was like months. I could just hear this crying in my head, and it just wouldn't go away. And another thing, well, yeah, no. So Dean was signed off sick actually after Eli died, which was for me. Oh, yeah, it helped massively because I was so worried. I think he was just so worried about leaving me on my own. Um, yeah, and especially like the state I was in, and yeah, I was just yeah, no, not good for nothing really.
Yeah, how can you be, right? Because and I was thinking that even now I get so triggered when I see pregnant women, and it's not in the way of like, oh, I mean, obviously there's two sides to it, right? There is the jealousy that comes with it, and you can't say that there isn't that, and it's okay to have that, that's normal. But then there's also the side of like, I am extremely worried for you. Like the same thing's gonna happen to you. You
Yeah, 100%. I always think that every time I see a pregnant woman, I'm like, "Is your baby gonna die? I hope it's not gonna die." Like, and then I start getting worried, and yeah, like it's crazy.
It's like I'm waiting for the like when I hear that someone who I know is pregnant, I'm like almost waiting for that news because I'm just so terrified. And like I know that I've had a pregnancy after loss, which was oh, we'll have a whole conversation about that. But I'm terrified of pregnancy and I don't want to I can't say don't want to, can't do whatever, but where I am right now, I don't want it anymore. Like, yeah, like I don't want to. Just the thought is too much for me. And my family's like, oh, you've already got two. Now you're gonna have another one for Arinze to play with. Da, da, da. And I was just like, it's like they're not even understanding the level of what I've just gone through, that trauma. Like,
So long.
yeah, it's 9 months. 9 months is a long time, you know. It's a long time for anything to happen. It's a long time for you to be in your head being like, is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen?
Yeah, no, yeah. I remember actually after it weren't, I don't know, a month after he died. I remember being in the like you say in the grocery store in the shop, and there was this baby, newborn baby, and it would not stop crying, and I literally just stood still, and I was like, and Dean like took me out of the aisle, and then they came into the same one, and I was like, they're literally doing it on purpose. They are following me, like they know. And I remember going clothes shopping um, after, and I kept looking around thinking, do they all think I'm still pregnant? Are they going to start asking me when I'm due and stuff like that? Like, oh, it was the
You just
worst.
literally, that's so true because your body is still pretty much pregnant
Mhm.
looking.
Yeah, no one did ask me that, but I literally was so petrified of someone saying like, "Oh, where's the baby?" or "How long have you got left to go?" Because I was still pregnant, and I mean, I couldn't, care about. I was not looking after myself at all. I put
Same.
so much weight on, and I mean, the thing is, I weren't eating. There was days, but then when Dean was there, it was his way of coping. I think was to make sure I was eating and I was drinking. So he was like making me stuff, to make me eat, but it was all like the wrong stuff. And I just put so much weight on, and yeah, so that definitely didn't help because it took so long for my bump like to go, you know. And I hated my body after. It was awful. I couldn't look in the mirror. I was just clawing myself, like just trying to just get my belly away. Um, yeah, it was awful, awful, awful.
When obviously I did lose Myla and I'd go on Instagram and I'm seeing people complain. Obviously, your Instagram is just going to be loads of baby stuff because for the last 9 months, you have been looking at baby things. And I remember I'd see people complaining about things like, "Ah, my belly looks like this kind of way, or my baby keeps doing this." And I just could be like, at least you have a baby.
You know, the worst thing is when they complain about being awake all night. And I was just like, I'm awake all night too, with myself crying, not because my baby's crying. Like, you are so lucky to be
Mm,
able to be up at night with your baby. I was
yeah.
just like so angry at them comments because I was like, I'd give anything to do that. But yeah,
Like yeah, I remember on my Instagram, I would have to, when you block, when you say like, I don't want this content, I kept doing that for baby stuff, but it wasn't really, there's only so much you can do. Yeah, it was not happening that much at all. And I stopped using it pretty much because it was so triggering.
yeah, I've unfollowed a lot of like people, anyone with a young baby or even kids. I was just like, I'm just gonna mute you. And I tell you what, I used to get. I don't know about you. When I was pregnant with Eli, they kept giving me all these apps, and like you get your free nappies and stuff. So I was getting all of these emails, and every time it was like, "Oh, your baby's 4 weeks old now." And I remember I'd signed up for, it was like well, I can't remember the company, but basically every month you used to get like a gift box, right, for something for me and the baby, right? So you had, I think it was like 3 boxes you got at a time, and they'd like then take your money the next time. Anyway, I knew one was coming. I tried to cancel it, and because I literally said my baby's died, I want to cancel it. They still sent me the box because I'd already paid for like the 3 boxes at a time, and they still sent me that. And I was just like, why? Just cancel it completely. Like, I don't want it. And like, and like the letters, like from Pampers, even like, oh, your baby's 6 months old, and it would still trigger me every single time. And yeah, yeah, it's just awful.
You're so right. You're so right. I know. So I don't know if your hospital provided this for you, but mine, they provided this thing where you have to put your address and all these things, send it off, and it's basically a letter asking to not receive any of these things, completely remove you from all the registries to do with babies, so that you don't get these letters, because obviously your baby's died. Um, I don't remember if I ended up signing that. I had no.
No, well, I remember them giving that to me, but again, I was just like, I just didn't, because it's the last thing you think of doing, right? You're literally just sitting there wallowing every day, and it's like that's the last thing. I couldn't do anything, you know.
It gets really crazy. And I think also one of the many reasons why I'm now doing things like podcasts or anything to do with Myla on Myla's present and stuff, like the reason why is because, again, you're not actually allowed to speak about it that much, right? I mean, some people can listen to you, like maybe one time you can have that conversation with them, but if you're always bringing up your dead baby, it's like how much further, it's almost like to them, how much further can we really take this conversation? Your baby's already dead, you know? And that made me feel insane. Like it almost felt like, did that just all happen in my head? It was getting to the point where, did I even have a baby altogether? You start to go in these spirals because the way people are behaving around you is like nothing has even happened anyway. And I remember, like, I was having a conversation with this uncle and I just brought it up and he was like, okay, let's not talk about sad things. And it's like, oh, but I'm just talking about my kid. Like,
About my life. My life is sad. Hello.
you know what I mean? Like, just let me speak. And like, you start hearing these screams inside of your head. And one of the songs that I actually chose for Milo's funeral is the song from Burner Boy, and the words are basically, oh, it's not coming to me right now because grief brain and obviously pregnancy brain and all the mum brain stuff, but essentially he says, there's screams inside his head because no one can hear him. No one's hearing him screaming about the fact that this person has died in his life, and that's how it feels all the time because no one is listening, and you just want to talk about it.
Yeah, like even now. Even now, the amount of people that I get, oh, how's Dakota? And I'm just like, I want to have a conversation about Eli as well. Like, but I don't know what to say, I guess. I don't know how to like even articulate that conversation, which is, it
Yeah.
sucks.
Because, okay, here's the thing though. How do you make it present?
Yeah, I mean, I have there's one girl at my work actually, and she does say to me, she's like, "Oh, have you done anything for Eli lately?"
Oh, that's so nice.
And every time I do like a charity thing, like when I've done the run, she was like, "Oh, that's amazing." Like, she will ask me questions, um, which I do appreciate.
That one question can single-handedly be used for anything and answer anything. Do you know what I mean? Because you can keep asking the same question all the time. What have you done anything for Eli lately? Have you done anything for Miley lately? Well, I've done this, 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 this.
Yeah, like literally. Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing. Like I'm always doing something for him, whether it be this, whether it be me writing my book, even just visiting his garden. I'm like, yeah, I always do loads of stuff for him. And then it actually makes me sit and think, yeah, because sometimes you do, like even now I get the guilt, like I'm not doing enough for him. And then, if she asked me that question today, I'd be like, oh yeah, I done Eli's pumpkin last night. Or, just little things like that, which I do,
Yeah.
you know, without even thinking that is something for Eli, yet I'll still get the guilt in my head that I haven't done enough for him. But every day I am doing something for him, even though I don't even think that at the time, like it's that important, but it is.
And here's the thing, like for people who are in their early grief stages, we should really absolutely be normalizing the fact that you can do so much for your babies. And it's also okay not to do something every day. Like you don't have to, you run out of ideas sometimes, and like you don't always have to do something because there's only so much you can do. And sometimes it's just the weight of the feelings and the sadness and all that kind of stuff. But for in my early stages, I never would have thought that I could do all the things that I'm doing right now. And like for example, I remember the 6 week count, the 6 week counseling that I got. The lady asked me to write. This was the first time that I even thought that I could write anything for Milo, and I was like to her, "Why am I writing anything? I don't want to write. This is ridiculous." But then I wrote, and then it was like, "Whoa, here's something." And you start to unlock all the things that you can potentially do for your baby. So if you're in the early stages of your grief, allow yourself, permit yourself where you can to do something if you want to. And also, I know culturally for some people, it is looked down upon. It is said that, oh, you're not letting the spirit of your baby rest and all this kind of stuff, which I personally don't believe is real at all. It's not true. But I just want to put that out there. You can absolutely honor them, even if you think you can't in your early stages.
Writing was so helpful for me. I actually went out and bought a book, a Mickey Mouse book with the letter E on it, and it was like I've still got it now. It was like my book for Eli. So I used to literally start it off every night, or in the early stages, it was basically every night. But anytime I felt like I needed to talk to him, I used to write in this book, and I used to start it off with like, "Dear Eli," and even like basic stuff like, "Oh, I managed to do this today," or if I'd done anything for him, or if I went for a walk, or any feelings that I had. It just cleared my brain so much. Getting it all out of my brain onto paper was just
Do you know
so
what? Yeah.
helpful for me.
Everything you just said is obviously how you've continued to parent him. But you have to remember, like, in those early stages, a lot of us don't feel like we're even parents. So how can you do that? So it'd be interesting to hear from you. How did you, and I think we kind of touched on this last time, but how did you realize that you were still a mum, and how did you permit yourself to still be a mum to Eli?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was like straight away. I mean, Dean had actually, so my birthday's 3 days after Eli's, and he'd already got me a jumper, and it was a one for breastfeeding, and it said Mama on it. And I used to, it was on my birthday. I remember he gave it to me, and he was like, "I'm really sorry. Like, I got you, this thinking that he'd be here, blah, blah." And anyway, I wore it on my birthday with pride. I think I went to my mum's. And we went for a walk because my brother was down, and yeah, like obviously it was like the first time I went anywhere. I mean, literally, it was 3 days after, so my brain was still all over the place. But I was quite from the beginning. I was like, I'm still a mum, like. But I know a lot of people. I mean, yeah, obviously there were days where I questioned it because yes, I was a mum, but I wasn't doing, normal mum things. I wasn't feeding him, and I wasn't, I couldn't look after him and hold him. But I, done other things that is my way of parenting him.
Yeah, and that's really beautiful from Dean. Thanks, Dean. Love it. And for me, it was actually the same. So obviously, Mila died in December, and even though that I was doing like loads of things of finding how to still connect with her with all the spirit stuff that I was doing, I didn't feel like I could call myself a mum. But my husband bought me a mug that said "Brilliant Mum" on Mother's Day. So this was March. So that's already like 4 months down the line, or three and a bit. And I was thinking, what? And then I was like, oh my God, yeah. Yes, I like it just reminded me that obviously, yes, I am, because I've just gone through that whole you're a mom as soon as you're pregnant, right? And it was just really crazy that I didn't consider it before. And I know a lot of people who even after now still discount themselves from that experience that they are parents because it didn't happen on the outside world, for them to continue to parent their babies physically. And I just each to their own way, right? But honestly, I would just I think that's, yeah, sad.
That makes me so
Mm.
sad. 4 months that took you to realise. And I mean, in my view, as soon as you see that positive test on the pregnancy test, you're a mum. You already have fallen in love um, with whatever may be like your future. And yeah, like that's made me really sad that it took you that long.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how can I be a mom, you know?
And it was a gift that you made. It made you realise. Yeah,
It reminded me. It's like almost I forgot. What? 9 months of what? So
yeah,
it's crazy. Um, and I guess like one of the things that we keep doing today is obviously still finding them in different pockets of things,
yeah.
which I personally like. Actually, I found that I'm enjoying finding her and being like surprised that, oh my God, this reminds me of her, or yeah. So because that's all we have, isn't it? Um,
Yeah,
I've got so when I went to Portugal, when I was pregnant with Mila, my family, my little cousins met her obviously through the belly and stuff. And then when I went this year, so 2024, 2 years basically, they we went to the beach and they were like, "Oh my God, can I write her name in the sand?" And just that was like, oh my gosh. And they always asking questions. What happened? How did that happen? I like that.
yeah. Did you like that? Like in the beginning, how was you talking about Mila then?
As in like in the early stages
Early,
to
early,
my
yeah.
family, or just,
Yeah, just your family. I mean, because for me, like talking about Eli, I'd like find ways to tell people what had happened.
oh, okay.
I think for me, it was like my way of it registering in my head, like what actually happened. Like I'd go through what happened at the hospital, you know, why he died, and I'd have a full on conversation about, how I was treated and stuff. And it was for me, I feel like it really helped me process what had happened, because I think where everyone goes silent, you're sort of questioning, did that happen to me? Does Eli exist? Did that happen? Like, because everyone goes quiet, and like I said before, I mean, Dean put all of his stuff away, and for me, I was like, is it like, it's almost like we were trying to erase the fact that he existed and his memory, and I mean, I didn't like that. I ended up going every time I was feeling down, I'd grab one of his baby grows and just cry in it. And I'd literally go and just sit in his room, get a cup of tea and just sit in his room for an hour and just write in my notebook to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good question. I think because of like what you said about the silence. I didn't have the opportunity to obviously speak about her much unless someone asked me. Obviously, like the people who saw me pregnant, I was like, well, this happened. And actually, I liked recounting my birth story because that was my
Mm.
opportunity to speak about my birth, which was a positive birth experience. Um, it's just really sad that that happened at the end, really unfortunate. But the birth in itself was, I can't complain about the birth experience. I enjoyed it. I had a great team there as well. But yeah, it wasn't until people asked me really. And then like for example, I never posted my pregnancy on Instagram from the beginning. I never posted any scans. I never put any like pregnant
Yeah,
sticks.
I know.
And so I had to come out eventually to Facebook. And I think I actually came out. I love how I'm saying came out, come out, when I had a Rinze. I'm pretty sure that's what
Oh,
happened,
wow.
which was October of 2023. So Milo was meant to be born in January 2023. October 23, I took some pictures. So with Milo, I never took like the maternity shoot. I don't know why I didn't do it. I had even bought like the cast to do with her. I didn't end up doing the cast, which I beat myself up about that all the time because, I still had 4 weeks left and my husband kept being like, let's do it now before she comes. And I was like, oh no, we still have some time. And I never ended up doing that. And so with Arinze, I was like, let me make sure that I'm doing these things. Even though I'm finding this pregnancy difficult, I have to still make these memories because I don't know what could happen. So I took a picture of her I've got this really beautiful what's it called? It's a neon light with her picture in it. And yeah, I took it with whilst I was pregnant with him and I'm holding it. And it's the most beautiful picture. And that's now currently my Facebook picture since October 23. And yeah, like that's when I came out to the world and I was like, I have two children, guys. And this is my story about my children. And yeah, I sometimes I wonder if I didn't go on to have a Rinse, would I have done all the things that I'm doing now? Because I decided to be very private about my relationship with Mila because I wanted to keep it with me. But then as soon as I had a Rinse, it felt like everyone's now just focusing on him, which obviously great. I want people to focus on my son, but I don't just have him, like I have her as well. And so I felt like I need to do something equally to so that both can be at the forefront.
Mm,
I'm mother of two kind of thing.
yeah,
Because really and truly, like if someone looks at you and your Instagram, I mean not your Instagram and your Facebook,
yeah,
they will know that you have two children. Whereas for some people they might want to be more private about that and not know that they might have many other children that are not present. And I think because of our generation and also because of like social media, we are able to be more vocal about this kind of stuff. Whereas previously, you're not allowed to really, it's not something that is talked about. And you also can't express it as openly as on social media. Social media is there, you can do whatever the hell you want with it, and it's everyone can see it. So I guess it's easier that way.
I think with that actually, social media, like a lot of the time, Dean would sort of say to me, "Just come off of it because you're just getting upset, right? Because all the triggers." But I actually think, in a way, it helped me because it was my way. I mean, not even a month, I'd say, after I had Eli, I made an Instagram account for him to remember him, and I that was my way of just like expressing my emotions almost, and that's how I came across so many people like in this
I'm
community.
so impressed because like I understand though, this is how we, it's the best. I have found it the best way for me to grieve, share my journey, and share my love, express it. But a month, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was, and not only that, I think it was because I was so adamant that I was like, no, I am still a mum, and everyone will recognise the fact that I'm still a mum. And even then, I felt like I was having to fight for that reminder to everyone, you know?
That's exactly what it is. You're having to fight to validate. You're having to fight for it. It's a fight. It is a fight.
It is a fight. I am still having to fight for it now. Like I've got two children, not one, you know? And it's like, yeah, and I'm always having to, remind people to include Eli, and it's draining at times, even now, you know.
But you know what? Yeah, I with like a lot of things from when you look back in history and how things were before, I feel like the movement of mothers like us doing all these things in maybe 10 years' time, maybe 5 years' time, it will change the narrative. It will mean that when someone knows that someone has experienced the loss of their baby, they will always know to include that baby. They will always be like, if they're going to buy something for me and my other child, then they would include the previous child or the child that was born after, whichever child will still be included.
Yeah, like even now, I mean, even like when I get Christmas cards, like, and it doesn't say Eli's name in it, I literally get really angry, which I probably, shouldn't admit, but it's true. And I'm literally like, if they don't want to write his name in, like, I don't want a card. Like, it's not hard. He's got three letters in his name. It's not like Dakota's name, which is like really long. And
Yeah.
I do get mad even now, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I need to stop that.
Yeah, that's so true. I think you're so right. Like making sure to include them with Christmas cards, trying to find out when their birthday is. If you're my close friend and if you're my family and we're close, then that's the job. That's the one thing you have to do. I'm already very low maintenance kind of person.
Yeah, no, like obviously, I just think if he was alive and you was going to send him a birthday card, for example, then
Mm.
do it still.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we should leave it with that. Leave it with our listeners who are in the early days of their grief. To obviously, I don't think it's your responsibility to tell people how to show up for you. They should really know how to be doing that. But if you want to and you feel like you can be more vocal, I think it's good for you to say what you kind of need. Obviously, it's not your responsibility though, and people should do better. But if you feel like you can, yeah. Because, like, I look back and I'm like, there are certain things that I could have just said because I needed it. I needed the support. In hindsight, I wish that I'm gonna say it again, it's not our responsibility, but maybe be more vocal. I do wish I was a bit more vocal about how I expected advocate for myself in the same way that now we know we should advocate for ourselves when we're pregnant. Also in our grief, we can.
And not only that, like when you're in the thick of it, it's like the last thing you want to be doing or can even think about doing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe later, I don't know, but if you feel like maybe relationships are starting to dwindle and you kind of want those relationships to continue, it's good to have that conversation, really sit down and be open with your grief, because a lot of us have learned to hide what we're really feeling with our grief, and I think that's one of the sentiments that you shouldn't hide, really, because you can't do anything with it. Like, you can't run away from that. That is going to be your reality forever. And so having those open and honest conversations about how you want people to be present for you is sometimes good, I think. So yeah, that's I think where we should leave it. But we had a resource today,
Yeah.
didn't we? And I've just remembered the helplines. I just think in the early days, I don't know how it was for you, Chelsea, but I was calling every day, okay? And what I didn't like about the baby loss charities was that they go up to like maybe 5, maybe 6 p.m. And I'm thinking, this is not the moments that I'm really going through the thick of it and the crisis. So I'd end up having to call Samaritans and just expel everything. And it was great because they're there to listen, whereas if I was to call a family member, they might be like, okay, it's okay now, all right, don't worry, don't cry. My mother-in-law, bless her, she'd be like, oh, okay, you're crying, okay, I'll let you cry, all right, bye, love you. She'd hang up, be like, okay, all right, bye. And I'm thinking, no, listen to me, I'm crying. But honestly, yeah, it's crazy, it's crazy. But helplines, there's Tommy's, there's Sands, and I'm sure internationally there should be loads as well out there, but Samaritans also are international. But yeah, Chelsea, is there anything you want to add before we?
No, just to say that, be kind to yourself because this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Mm. I love it, and it's great because we're going to be speaking about marathons in one of these episodes, so
Yep.
put it out there.
But yeah, no, just be kind to yourself. And you are not going insane, even though you may possibly feel like you are.
Yeah, yeah. That like all your feelings are valid, however you respond to your grief, like it's valid. Like at the end of the day, you've experienced the worst thing possible. So allow yourself to feel it,